Next on Startup, we travel to Birmingham, Alabama to meet with Jeff, Jason, and Chris, three brothers born in the restaurant business who started Slice Pizza, a family pizza shop that's bringing foodies in from miles around. Then we head to Louisville, Kentucky to meet with Emily, who comes from a long line of Kentucky entrepreneurs and created Graceship, a company that produces multi-use laptop bags. All of this and more is next on Startup.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support Startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup.
I'm on 29th Street in Birmingham, Alabama. We're gonna go talk to Jeff, Jason, and Chris, who created Slice. Now, this is not your average pizza joint. Let's go find out how these three brothers are reshaping the Birmingham food scene, one unique pizza at a time. The first documented U.S. pizzeria was licensed to sell pizza in 1905. Today, there are roughly 61,000 pizzerias in the U.S., representing 17% of all restaurants. Jeff, Jason, and Chris were first introduced into the industry as kids by helping out in their father's family restaurant. And after they each had a series of different careers, all paths led them right back into the food industry. Let's start by finding out who you guys are. Let's go down the line and tell us your name and a little bit about yourselves.
Jeff Bajalia, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, went to John Carroll High School.
Chris Bajalia, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama as well.
Jason Bajalia.
My father, when he first came to this country, started working for a place called Kelly's Hamburgers, which is not in existence anymore. And that's where he learned his trade. He came here in '65 and opened his first restaurant in '68. So when we all started there as young children, you know, from 8, 9, 10 years old, washing dishes without dishwashers. So we learned the hard way.
Yeah, what was one of the biggest things that you can say that you learned from your father growing up?
Probably to take care of the customer and to give good service and quality product, and everything else would follow.
Did you guys take it over? Did that just kind of go away? Or
well, in 1998, the building was closed due to asbestos.
Oh, okay.
So he was forced to close down. And after he passed away, to kind of pay homage to him, we reopened Saul's across the street from its original location. And it's been there for going on 7 years now.
Tell me about Slice. How did it come about? Whose idea? Give me the whole inception from day one with this.
Well, I think it was more of a joint effort.
So they approached you and they said, we have this concept for a pizza place.
I can't remember it being quite that simple. They had a concept wanting this building because they liked this location, and we all talked about it and decided pizza would be a great idea.
Take something that's everyday, be creative with it, you know, source some things locally through local farmers, build a menu based around that.
Quite a unique situation being that it's at home. This is actually a home. It's not a shopping center. We're not an end cap in any particular place. So that adds to the uniqueness. And when we got a hold of the building, it hadn't been touched in any way.
And David, the property owner, did put some TI money in to help us as well with the structural issues and some of the cosmetic things we took care of and the structural issues he did.
Sure.
So it was a joint effort between us and the landlord.
What level of involvement do you have with Slice itself?
My involvement was basically on the front end.
Okay.
I mean, I paid to build the building out and put a little money in it and helped them get started, and they just took off and ran with it.
I heard that the place was pretty destroyed. What kind of build out are we talking about here?
700,000 maybe?
700,000? And you've made it all back in rent already, though.
Not all back in rent, but they're paying me what they're supposed to. That's all I can ask for.
Banks just aren't handing out money to small business
They don't
people.
like restaurants for sure.
They wouldn't talk to us. It was all private funding.
Really?
Yeah.
Every bit.
Private funding, you went out and found investors.
Well, I mean, the landlord being one, and then, another friend being another, and then us coming up with our own personal money. And basically selling, our cars, living on just, scraping by just to order furniture for the store and stuff like that. I mean,
You really bootstrapped this place.
right.
In short, the bank wouldn't talk to us.
This came from Woodstone. Obviously, it's tagged on there. And this pizza oven had to get craned in.
Craned in.
Because the house was so old and pizza weighs 6,000 pounds, the structural engineers would not approve us putting the pizza in the house. So the oven actually sits outside the house, but it's worked from inside the house.
According to foodservicewarehouse.com, a lot of new restaurant owners underestimate how much it costs to open a restaurant. In order to plan for unforeseen expenses, adding an additional 15 to 25% to your budget will help you get through that first crucial year. Let's talk about dealing with the city. That's another fear that people contend with.
Well,
No one wants to talk about that.
See, this is the good stuff. Now I hit the hot one.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The city of Birmingham and the health department obviously have their obstacles to overcome. Fighting them is not going to resolve any problems good for anybody.
I feel like you know that from experience.
But yes, without a doubt.
the biggest advice that I could give somebody would probably be call them before you get started. Don't get started and then call them. That's a huge thing I think people don't do. I mean, get them involved in the beginning, because if you get started and then there's something they don't want you to do, then there's another hurdle you got to come over.
You're feeding money into something that's not generating revenue yet, but people like the city or the health department don't take that into the equation and maybe not be sympathetic towards that kind of manner.
Slow moving process.
Very slow moving. And that's a big hurdle to overcome.
How about the beer, wine, liquor license?
Yeah, it's not so much upfront cost as it is the process. Background checks, neighborhood association approval, public safety approval, city council approval. There again, it just takes time.
How long did it take from the time that you came in with the lease all the way through getting everything that you needed and flipping the sign to say open?
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
18 months, yeah.
Longer than you expected?
6 months longer, yeah. We hoped to have it within 12 months, and it took us another 6 months.
In terms of a business plan, did you guys actually write a business plan for this?
I don't think we would have obtained our private funding without it.
It gave us a snapshot of where we needed to be on a week-to-week, a month-to-month, on a yearly basis in order to survive.
What does a small place like this have to make on a daily basis to survive?
We projected, and obviously if we did these numbers today, that we would not survive, that we needed to do $15,000 a week to survive.
$15,000 a week to survive.
Basically,
See,
a little over $2,000 a day.
To me.
It's not
But it's not. It's
in this business.
Really? And that's before profit? That's what you need to
That's our
survive.
break even, yes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
This is a high stakes business.
It is.
Why Slice? I mean, outside of the obvious.
Outside of the obvious.
One word.
it's-
One
yeah,
word is very
easy,
important.
one word, to the point.
According to pizza.com, Americans eat approximately 100 acres of pizza a day, or about 350 slices per second. A little bit of cornmeal.
A little bit of cornmeal. You want to get some on yours as well. You can follow my lead.
Right. Mine doesn't look as glamorous as yours.
We go to the farmer's market or what have you and talk to different growers and stuff and tell them exactly what kind of ingredients they need, and sometimes they're able to Not always are we able to get what we want, so sometimes we have to supplement stuff from,
Well, in season, out of season type of stuff.
Exactly.
But anything that's in season, you're going to try to get fresh.
Correct.
So would you consider yourself kind of a pizza connoisseur here?
I'm definitely a pizza connoisseur. I love eating pizza. So.
And what is it that makes this place different in terms of the pizza that they make?
The reason I like this pizza is everything's made natural, fresh. You can go to pizza chains and everything's kind of frozen or comes in plastic bags. Here, they do everything from scratch, and that makes it unique. So,
what's your favorite one on the menu?
The super cheese. I love cheese pizza.
Do you think that's a really important thing to kind of, I guess, buy local, dine local, shop local?
I think people want to do the local things because it helps the local families, it helps the local shops, and therefore why send our money back to some major corporation in another state? Let's keep it Alabama, let's keep it Birmingham.
And how?
You want to make your
Yeah, why not? How long does one of these bad boys take to cook?
About 4 minutes.
That's it, 4 minutes. So that keeps the food coming out of the kitchen pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Cheese, onions, bacon, and Wickles pepper rings.
Amazing. Let's talk about your charity work and community involvement.
Well, I tell you, that has been a big part of our success here as we reached out to the community, growing this thing. Every Tuesday we do a dough raiser. It was a way to reach out to them and say, hey, if you bring your people in, we'll give back 10%.
Yeah, so it's brilliant because you're really kind of killing all birds with one stone.
That's
here.
right.
Doing great for the community, you're filling your restaurant, and not only that, but you're exposing this place to people that ordinarily maybe wouldn't have come here.
That's exactly right.
And you've seen it work.
We've seen it work. It has really grown. We're on about a 6 or 7 month waiting list for the charities to sign up.
What advice would you give to somebody else out there that wants to maybe not even get into the restaurant industry, but just open their own business, period?
I think a lot of people try and rush, and they have an awesome dream and great aspirations, and they know where they want to get, but they want it to happen overnight, and it just doesn't happen. We had told you earlier it took us 1.5 years to get this place open. Well, by the time you're at month 16, you're so antsy, you just want to unlock the door and open, you just want to start making income. Well, if you fast forward 1 year from that point, I mean, what's another 2 weeks or 2 months even? Just make sure you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, because it'll
do
pay
it right.
dividends. Do it right. Do it right the first time, because first impression's everything. You only get one shot to your community, to your citizens that are going to come and support you.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Jeff, Jason, and Chris do it? Let's find out. They started with a combined $50,000 in the bank and an average credit score of around 700. They earned roughly $1.9 million in their first year, operating at a profit. It cost $800,000 to open the business, all of which came from a private investor. The one word that the guys used to explain what it takes to open a business is dedication. Jason, Jeff, and Chris found a tasty way to make some dough, and with the way that they run their business, I don't see much room for improvement. A lot of hard work and some vision, and you can get your piece of the American dream too. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Slice. I'm on Story Avenue in Louisville, Kentucky. We're gonna go talk to Emily, who created Graceship. Now, when Emily worked in media, she would travel all around the country, and she always wanted a bag that could safely store her computer, as well as serve as a purse. But when she looked all over in the marketplace and couldn't find one, she decided to take matters into her own hands. Let's go hear her story. Historically, boutique specialty stores and department stores were where women made most of their handbag purchases. However, new channels like e-commerce or online shopping have surpassed traditional brick and mortar retail sales, mainly due to consumers looking for good bargains. Emily, a veteran TV journalist, had grown accustomed to airport layovers and being on the move, but she was tired of lugging around both a purse and a laptop bag. And since necessity is the mother of invention, Graceship was born. Start by telling us who you are and your background, where you're from.
Okay, my name is Emily Gimmel. I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to the University of Kentucky, majored in journalism, had nothing to do with design. Basically worked in television for about 10 years until I started Graceship.
What did you do in TV?
I was a TV reporter. I was like that morning features reporter.
Awesome.
I was live out on location.
Tell me about Graceship. How did it come to fruition? What's the backstory behind it?
I was going cross country from Las Vegas to Kentucky. I was filming in both places and needed a computer bag. But everything that I found was just either too sporty or too masculine, or it was just tacky. When I was initially creating the designs, they started with just paper bags. I took graph paper and literally drew out what I wanted, and just so I could get the proper proportions, and would tape these 3D bags together and was carrying them around my apartment just to see if it worked. That moved into very detailed computer designs where I then sent to the factory, and then they'd send the first sample over and I said, okay, change this, change that.
Does your dream become reality the second that pencil hit the paper, or what? I mean,
no, your dream becomes reality when someone pays you for it, I think.
Gotcha.
When someone is willing to give you money for just this idea that you had in your head.
You had this like paper 3D bag. How does one just find a factory?
I looked in the US because obviously with Graceship the bags are cut and sew. Unfortunately, that manufacturing is not yet available here in the United States. So I flew to China, I booked a ticket, brought a girlfriend with me. Yeah.
Did you have an interpreter?
Yeah, we had a Chinese translator, and she came around the country with us, and we basically trekked around China for about 2 weeks.
So how did you negotiate with your factory on things like price, manufacturing, quality, shipping? Like, how does that work?
Well, I think first and foremost, you focus on quality, because if you don't have a quality product, then there's really not a point of being in business. I think you have to stand 100% behind your product and feel good about it. So, and then base the price off of that. So, it was basically me, after our designs were complete, they had sent samples. I had tested a couple factories and compared pricing, and then decided to go with one particular one based on just my gut and their quality of work. But, it took about a year total, going to China to putting it on the market.
Are these your prototypes, or what are these right here?
Well, some of these bags are what were initial prototypes, yes. It's kind of interesting when you send your initial design over, what they come back with. It's not always exactly what you were thinking or wanting.
Okay, and these are designs,
yes.
I would assume. So what is, like tell me a little bit about this one.
This is gonna be basically our next bag, and it's kind of the idea just laid out in detail. All your different dimensions and sizes.
And who does this?
I do.
Awesome. What is this one?
This is Hong Kong, actually. It's a bag that I'm working on. Hong Kong is currently in development. This is my first sample. Usually you have to go through about 2 or 3 sample runs. You can see
what's good and bad about this?
The material is peeling a little bit over here. This material is actually going to be too thin to create the bag with. And then the handles weren't quite as long as I like, so it's a little more difficult to put over your shoulder with like a coat on or something.
Women have made great strides breaking into the executive ranks, but at the biggest companies, the CEO is almost always male. There are currently only 24 female CEOs in the Fortune 500. How do you reach your customer online? Is there a way to drill down to your target demographic, and how do you do that?
We did a lot of research about where are women and where are professional women, and where are professional women that are buying online. And really what I've found is Canada, Australia, they seem to love us in Australia, Germany, Scandinavian countries, and then of course the United States. So that's pretty much our focus. Good marketing is really about focusing on who truly is your customer, what is your niche.
Do you use Facebook?
Yes, we use Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter.
Talk about the website. Who built it? How was it built? How long did it take? How much did it cost? Because that's your storefront, essentially.
Sure. I think a lot of people waste a lot of money spending way too much on website design. Don't be fooled by, that you need to spend $10,000 or something outrageous to start a web presence. You can do it easily for $500. They have a lot of, there's a lot of great designers out there that work with these particular hosted websites that...
Like template, pre-made.
They start on templates and then you can expand off of it. How I've really structured the company, I have a bookkeeper, I have a manufacturing, like a quality control company that I work with in China that works with the factory, and then I have my warehouse. That's where all our product is stored. They handle all of the order processing, order returns, customs paperwork, and I basically pay them a fraction of what I would pay, you know, a full-time warehouse manager or a warehouse, you know, in itself.
Or the cost of shipping and everything. So you're just kind of up at the top with your puppet strings, like kind of running the show.
Yeah.
It's awesome. You got a great operation going.
In this economy, you want to be lean and let me focus on what I know best, which is media and marketing, and not chasing around orders or figuring out, you know, what the customs cost is to send something to Ireland or whatever.
Your bags.
Yes, my babies.
What is this one here?
This is London.
London?
Yes.
Okay.
London is what I call kind of your bohemian beauty. It's designed for a woman who's kind of got that boho chic look going. This is actually probably our best seller. Oh, that's Chicago.
This is Chicago.
Chicago's a little more playful. It's a little more casual chic, kind of designed for going to the park or, you know, going to school, going to class.
According to handbag.com, the term handbag didn't exist until the development of the railroad. Women became more mobile, sparking leather artisans to create easy-to-carry handheld bags. What did it cost for you to do this as a whole? Have you ever figured that out?
I started the business with a $50,000 line of credit. I was able to secure a line of credit from a local bank here in Louisville, and then also just some of my personal savings that I had.
So you went in yourself to a bank and said, I need a $50,000 small business loan, and they gave it to you.
Yeah. It was probably the third bank I went to, but yeah.
Do you have a business plan?
Yes, I do.
And how much has that helped you?
I spent, like I said, way too much time, probably about 6 months on a business plan. Since I've been in business, I have not looked at it once. I think it's a complete waste of time. What's important is customers.
Whose bag is this?
That's my bag. That's the London.
Tell me about the bag.
Okay, well, first it fits everything I need because I'm constantly going from class to work here. It's made of vegan leather. It's PETA certified, which is really awesome.
And what do you think about Emily? What's your experience been being here?
She is awesome. Just like the other said, I can ask her pretty much any question and she has an answer. She lets us do everything independently.
Would you consider yourself kind of an EIT? That's like an Emily in training?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know if I can be that great.
Advice to other people out there that are watching this that have dreamt about owning their business.
Just focus on your product and focus on generating customers, and everything else will come. And then also the idea is the easy part. A lot of people are like, oh, this is a great idea, you know, but putting the work from A to Z, it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's also the most fulfilling.
Yeah, knowing that you've created something from nothing. There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Emily do it? Let's find out. She spent close to $70,000 to open her business and acquired the funds from a bank line of credit. Her credit score was over 750, and her office lease is $500 per month. In her first year, she broke even. And the one word that Emily used to explain what it takes to open a business is focus. If you think that being an entrepreneur is easy, Emily proves that that's not the case. And it took a lot of persistence for her to carry on over the course of that first year. Now, with the help of e-commerce, you don't have to be an attaché to create a global presence in the marketplace. In my opinion, Emily has this one in the bag. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Graceship.
I think failure is critical to success. It's a great litmus test for how much you really want it. I think that failure could be disguised as something as negative, but in reality, I think you learn a lot about yourself, your passion, and if you really want, you know, what you're trying to achieve. I think behind every successful company, brand, product, there's a heart behind it.
Next time on Startup, we head to Madison, Wisconsin to meet with Brian, an avid fisherman who worked in mapping technology and created Fishity, a smartphone app that's helping fishermen catch more fish. Then we head to Minneapolis, Minnesota to meet with MJ and Susan, two artists and entrepreneurs who started iMusement, a company that designs fashionable and affordable eyewear. Be sure to join us next time on Startup.
Let's do another option for you.
Okay.
See, this might be a little bit more your color.
This one fits perfect. Oh, it feels good too.
Like it was made for you.
I feel very free.
What? So I know we're on opposite sides of the fence, but why do you always gotta balk about what you do, huh?
American Express is proud to support startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
The American small business was built on one thing, relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.